I'm excited for Dune 2, but also I'm not. I'm going to go see it tomorrow. I would tonight, but I have a thing. And I think it's going to make a ton of money. I think it's going to be very successful. I think what happened last year was the final sea change in moving away from comic book movie films and superhero films, because we had like 4 big failures last year that were really costly. And I think there's still going to be huge moneymakers, like the upcoming Superman film, for example, is going to be enormous. But I think the business model is going to change. It's not going to be about a complex ensemble cast coming together to form a found family and face an increasingly mounting threat, although versions of that will probably be present. I think it's going to be more held back stories that explore the inner life of one individual around which the story is framed. And I think Dune is exactly that. On a technical level, Dune kind of confuses me, because the story is kind of a funny one, and, of course, it hasn't been adapted much because it is very hard to adapt technically and in terms of its narrative. And I think the way they made the first film just be adapting the boring half of the first novel is kind of baffling to me. I think there would have been a way to screenwrite it where it wasn't like that. But that's just how they chose to do it. And when it comes down to it, a movie doesn't succeed in the culture because it's perfectly written. It succeeds because it charms the audience with things they like on a simple level. And this has that because it has a million big movie stars, and it has basic cool visuals that people can grasp, and it has the institution of the books behind it that can be described as all these grand things like the father of sci-fi and the inspiration for Star Wars and all this other stuff, and this great philosophical pondering. And so I think Dune is going to do very well financially, but I suppose on a technical level, I'm a bit more cautious, but deeply hoping it'll be very exciting and entertaining. I guess I'm especially nervous about this also because right now I'm writing something that I only started writing because of the trend of Dune and the success of Dune, and it's similar in a number of ways, and that's about a main protagonist in a semi-fantasy world, and it's based on a pre-existing property. And I guess I'm also nervous because it seems like we are entering into a different stage of the superhero movies. And I really liked the era of the superhero movies. I was a massive fan. I was the exact target demographic that's supposed to like it. And I loved it. And I found it very inspiring. And it was pivotal and instrumental in my thinking for its entire era. And I think it's not unfair to say that it's one of the things in the last 10 years that helped destigmatize being nerdy, or however you want to define that. And so I guess I feel kind of nervousness about it becoming less popular and what that might mean. But perhaps that fear is baseless because, frankly, Dune seems much more traditionally nerdy than superheroes. So maybe this is just making it even more nerd safe. So regardless, you gotta live in the world you're in, and I'm excited to see what happens with this thing.